Why is my life so frustrating? Why can't I get what I want? Why can't I manifest the things in my intentions into the real world? Why can't I stay in a loving relationship? Why can't I find my soulmate? Why can't I make the money that I need, that I'm constantly visualizing? Um, why can't I have the things that I want? Yeah, I spend a significant amount of my day on social media, just staying in touch with clients, followers. And I think now everybody does that. Everybody is so connected in one way or another through an electronic medium, a virtual medium, that it's impossible not to notice the vast numbers of people that are angry, frustrated, unfulfilled, and every human being needs to feel like they can make an impact. Every human being, it's a core innate desire to know that they matter. And very few humans today can make themselves feel that they matter by creating and providing good, providing value to the rest of the world, or at least to their immediate circle. So what does everyone else do to make sure that they're noticed, make sure that they make a difference, make sure that they matter? In the physical world, it would be graffiti. In the physical world, it would be knocking over someone's potted plants. In the physical world, it would be beating someone up, holding a knife to someone's throat. If you can't feel like you matter, if you can't feel like you make a difference by creating, then there's only one other way you can create validity and get feedback that you do exist, that you are making an impact, and that's through destruction. That's through violence. And in the online world, it's so easy to do that, to create violence, to create destruction, to create havoc. And that's fine if that's how you want to live your life. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. It's not fine for the people you're doing it to, but it's fine for you until you get to the real world. And you can't be as violent in the real world. You can't be as unreasonable. In fact, there was a science magazine. Maybe there was a reputable magazine. I forget what it was. It was it the New Yorker? Was it Scientific American or something that had kind of a tongue-in-cheek title? It said, warning, scientists have discovered a new strain of human beings that are resistant to facts. Human beings that are resistant to facts. That's what's happening online right now. And again, it's fine for you to live a life where you ignore the facts that are inconvenient for you, and ignore the facts that shine a bright light on your bias so that you can tell that you're wrong in the virtual world. Because what happens in the virtual world might apparently stay in the virtual world until you get back out in the real world, where you don't have a girlfriend, you can't retain a relationship, you can't retain a job, at least not one that you're happy in. You can't increase your income the way you feel that you deserve. You can't maintain the friendships that you think you deserve. And now in the real world, you can't even be as destructive as you are online, because you'll actually get the shit kicked out of you or go to jail. So how do you solve this problem? How do you actually manifest what your intentions are? Your intentions are to be healthy, happy, be loved, to have enough abundance not to be stalked by your landlord, badgering you for your rent, to be able to see something that's cool and attractive to you, and to be able to afford to buy it, or at least rent it, or buy it for a short time and sell it back on the market. Do something. You should have the ability to experience the things that you want to experience in life, and yet you're not able to do that. Why is that? It's really, really simple. The most no-brainer, stupid explanation for why you can't have the things that you want, why you can't manifest your intentions into the real world, is because you're not connected to the real world. Your mind and the world are not connected. If your mind and the world were connected, what you visualize in your mind would slowly, a little bit more quicker, a little bit more quickly, rapidly, instantly manifest. Bam. If your mind and the universe, the world, were connected. Think about people like Elon Musk. He thinks something, within 10 years, he's got a rocket ship. He's changed the entire... in the beginning, about 10 years ago, he actually got death threats from the Middle East. Some mysterious Middle Eastern people tried to kill him. Look it up. 10 years ago, look it up. Or ask him in Twitter. I'm sure he still gets death threats, in fact, from the Middle East or people tied to oil. What's the difference? How do some people have minds connected to the universe, the world, in such a way that whatever they dream up, bam, happens. They dream up, bam, happens. You think that this girl likes you, or you think this girl is interested in you, and come to find out she was just asking you to supersize her combo meal. What is it that's the difference? How is your mind different from the minds of successful people? And how do you make your mind like that? How do you get yourself to where you can dream up something and bam, wow, that's cool, it happened. I'd like to make $10 million this year. At the end of the year, you're thinking, geez, now I've got a belly, I've got a sore neck. Holy shit, I got $10 million in my Bitcoin wallet. I'd better start working out. How do you get to that level? How you do that is going to require a much longer conversation. But what I can tell you is probably even more important than how you get to that level is how you stop staying at this level. You see, there's two different things that you have to do. In order to move forward, one thing you've got to do is actually take steps forward. But before you can take steps forward, it would help if you removed massive walls in front of you. It would help if you stopped walking backwards. So you have to do those two things. You have to remove the resistance, and then you have to build positive momentum. So building positive momentum, how do you actually manifest the things that you want to manifest? We'll leave that for another discussion. Right now, let's deal with what's stopping you. Let's just uproot that so you have the freedom to move forward, and then how you take those steps, we can deal with over the next couple of months or years or however long it takes for the next YouTube video to go up. This is what you're doing. That's destroying your ability to connect to the world. You're fantasizing. You're fantasizing. Stop it. Stop fantasizing. Fantasizing is the opposite of meditation. Meditation, now I'm getting into what you have to do. Let's not do that. Let's just say fantasizing is the opposite of meditation. Meditation is conscious. Let me at least touch on it. Meditation is the conscious, intentional directing of the mind and spirit. Spirit is a bit hard to talk about because it's 2 chakras above where you speak. It's like 2 dimensions above where you speak. It's like using a single one-dimensional line to describe a 3-dimensional object. Hey, draw the most beautiful woman that you've seen, or draw your mother's beautiful face using one straight line. It's kind of like that. It's 2 dimensions above. But we can kind of just outline. You can use a shadow to kind of to draw the most beautiful woman in the world. So let's do that. That's only 1 dimension up. So let's talk about that. When you meditate, you're focusing your intention on doing one thing with your mind. Even if it's as simple as just follow your breath, watch your breathing, and stay on your breath, and suddenly your mind wanders away. Your mind is thinking about the day, thinking about this or that. Catch it and bring it right back. That's meditation. It can be as easy as that. There's millions and millions and millions of different meditations with mantras, with sitting, with motion, with moving, with breathing, with very advanced everything techniques. But fantasy is the opposite. Fantasy is entertaining mental undiscipline. It's entertaining mental chaos. And it's not only entertaining mental chaos, you're building upon it. Because when you have a fantasy or speculation, it's the same thing as speculation. And I bring this up because I get comments that, hey, maybe this guy did this because he's actually part of this massive conspiracy, and what they're actually trying to do is this, and they actually want to destroy this, and they're trying to do this, and maybe what he really meant was this was code to talk to his followers and amass this kind of violent support. Speculation, fantasy, same kind of thing. What ends up happening is when you entertain it, the way your brain works, it has the seed. Every cell is a cell in your body, right? Cancer cells tend to multiply faster. They tend to collect resources faster, and they tend to grow faster than everybody else, and they starve all the other nearby cells. All the other healthy cells that are supposed to take nutrition, cancer cells take the nutrition away from all the other cells around it, and they grow, and they choke off your life force. They grow so fast. It's the same thing with fantasy and speculation. Fantasy and speculation is the practice of letting your mind be undisciplined. Have you seen a child who's undisciplined run throughout a restaurant? It's the most annoying thing possible. You hate it, but you're letting your own mind do the same thing when you engage in speculation and fantasy. Maybe the government is doing this. Maybe this powerful CEO is actually doing this. Maybe my girlfriend is doing this. Maybe this YouTuber is doing that. Maybe. And then what ends up happening is, just like cancer cells that grow and find nutrition elsewhere, you start noticing things in the paper. You start noticing things on Twitter. You start noticing things in YouTube, in the media, that somehow remind you of your fantasy, of your speculation. And because it reminds you of that, Pink grapefruit spray. Born in the U.S. Tick, tick, tick. Okay, those are 3 random inputs to your mind. Now, you might have instantly had an association. You might have thought, pink grapefruit spray. I remember that time when I was eating in the 5th grade in the eating area, and the kid next to me sprayed, what was his name? His name was Jeffrey. He sprayed grapefruit juice in my eye. You might remember that, or nothing might come to mind. But what will happen is guaranteed, a couple hours to maybe a couple days later, or maybe even years later, you'll notice something that reminds you of pink grapefruit spray, or tick, 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 or the words born in the U.S. And as soon as you make that connection of one item to another item, bam, it's doubled like a cell, just poof, poof. Now it's become 2. Now it becomes really easy for a 3rd cell to develop up here, poof. And then 6, and then 12, and then 24. Speculation and fantasy, allowing yourself to speculate and fantasize, is exactly the same thing. It's mental cancer. What will happen is you'll start thinking, maybe the CEO of Binance is actually doing an exit scam. You think that, and you think, And then suddenly you'll see somebody else saying, hey, how come you don't answer this? And you'll immediately use that as support for your speculation. Pretty soon, your entire mind is filled with this cloud that has no basis in reality, but now you've believed it. The most obvious place you can see this is religion. If you can't see this in your own religion, you'll see this in everybody else's religion. Can't believe that they actually think that they're going to marry, they're going to be able to live with 24 virgins in heaven. I can't believe they actually think that there's a burning fire in hell. Can't believe that they actually think that they're going to go up and talk to St. Peter at some pearly gates. Can't believe that they think that some Chinese guy with a fat belly is God, and if you rub his belly or something, you're going to get enlightenment. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You can see it in other people's religions if you can't see it in your own. That's speculation. That's belief. You're creating belief without any confirmation in the real world. That is where you've broken your relationship with the world. That's where your mind gets a rift, gets a fissure, gets torn away from the real world. So first thing that happens is your mind gets torn away from the real world. Next thing that happens, if you stay closer in your fantasies and your speculations, your mind actually gets torn away from your body. That's frightening. When your mind starts getting... So what ends up happening is you start, because of your bias, you start only seeing the things that support your belief system, your bias, that actually support your fantasies and your theories and your speculations. You only see those things. It's selective vision. Pretty soon, you don't see anything at all. You start only being able to hear the things that agree with your perspective of the world. You start only being able to read the things, hearing the words that support your vision of what's really happening in your mind, in the world. And pretty soon, because you've blocked out everything else that conflicts with what you believe, because conflict is discordant. It's like music. If you're singing music and suddenly someone else is singing another song, it's shrill. It's not even in the same key. It's discordant. It sounds horrible. So you want to block that out. And so you start blocking out all the information that proves to you that you're wrong, proves to you that this fantasy is inaccurate, after all the months and months and months and years of years that you've been building up this fantasy, after all this dedication and love and cherishment you've put into building this intricate little fantasy, this play world. Anything that comes to destroy this play world, you just defend against it, because this is your baby, this is your creation. This view of the world that's wrong, that doesn't exist in reality is now your baby. You start defending it against all this other data, and pretty soon all this other information, all this other data, all these other responses, feelings, touch, smell, taste, hear, vision. You're blocking out so much of it that you've blocked out 99% of the world, 99.9% of the world pretty soon. It's 99.9 with a line over the top of it. And now you've blocked out the entire world. You're not hearing anything, you're not seeing anything, you're not feeling anything, you're not smelling anything, you're not tasting anything. And because you've done it for so long, now your mind is disconnected from your body. Your mind is torn away from your body. And your body is the only tool by which you have to manifest what's in your mind into the real world. In order to manifest what's in your intentions into the real world, it has to go through your body. Your body has to do something. Your body has to say something. Your body has to respond and react and be agile, and it has to be able to adapt to the changing conditions on earth so that you can eventually build what you want to build that matches the vision in your mind. But the vision in your mind will never see the light of day if you continue to ignore reality. If you cherish your fantasies and your biases more than the frustrating and discordant reality that comes in to tell you, no, that's not actually what's happening. That's not actually true. That's fine. But don't be surprised when none of the things that you desire in your life manifest for you.